Welcome to Winternomics.eth. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready to just Winternomics. Welcome. Welcome to Winternomics.eth. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready to just Winternomics. Welcome. Welcome to Winternomics.eth. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready to just Welcome to Winternomics TV. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready, bitches. Winternomics. Welcome. Winter, 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 Winternomics. Winter, winter, winter. Welcome. Winter, winter, Winternomics.
Yo. What's up, everybody? Slightly late start. Nomics marketing department was having some trouble with final graphics. Alright. You gotta admit that shot on Instagram is pretty fat. How's everybody doing? We got, Vix McGadden chart lurking in the background. Probably time to revisit him and just check out where he is. Man, am I ever more baked than I thought I'd be. Alright, so, how's everybody doing? Amen. Amen. Oh shit, Hype Cash dropping 10 stacks off the bat. Titties out. Respect, homie, I appreciate it. How's everybody doing, man? Everybody doing good in the markets? How are these morning shows working for everybody? Helping you make more intelligent decisions? Less fear? So, today's theme was Funnymentals. I learned that term from a guy that I guess I could consider a mentor many years ago in Forex, when I tried to beat the guy that was Mr. Economics directly out of school and tried to make sense of every different number that was dropping around the clock and factor into Forex prices, and kind of conflate that with my technical analysis, which is very accurate, but you could get yourself really distorted trying to figure out what every next news item was worth. And he coined the term funnymentals because he says it's kind of funny. He's like, everything means something specific to each one of you. He's like, but you can't imagine that each one of you has access to the same thing as one another. And that's when it dawned on me, like, really understanding asymmetrical flow of information, that just everybody does not have access to the same body of information they consider the fundamentals of price. So, fundamentals was a funny term for it, because we start watching people in chat rooms discuss the specific parts of the information that would be flowing out that they thought was important, and then developing a rationale for going into price that was based on that limited amount of information that was heavily biased. So, news flow can get you fucked up. That is the primary theme about that. One thing you have to look at, I want to talk to you about, is like historic prices. And when you guys go back, we talk about it with some people in the chats in our rooms. When you look at your analysis in hindsight, it's amazing how clear price can be when you no longer have access to the news flow of yesterday. Price makes total sense. But in the present moment, it's the most fucking mind-boggling thing to so many people. Respect, RG. Damn, you guys are starting off crazy. I haven't even done anything yet. What is that? RG gets as much as get some subs. You guys will rewatch these shows. Ooh, I see somebody in there. What's going down? Good Lord, you guys wrote a lot of messages fast. Fundamentals versus TA. So, what I talk about when I talk about the sentiment in markets and things like that, that is fundamentals from my perspective. And so you have a lot of people will categorize things they think are fundamentals, like looking at like a company's news release about its earnings. But since you really don't have access to all available information in real time, it's kind of illogical to think that you would ever be able to, like, say, outmaneuver like any of the big institutions that can meet with the board of a company and know more about where his company's going. If you've ever seen Gerber talk about it, like they speak to the boards of the companies they invest in. So they know directly from them, even though it's going to be biased, they know information flows that you just don't know to make decisions. And so the biggest money in the markets has access to shit you don't, period. You're never going to get in front of that. But what you have access to is people's perceptions of what they think about these assets, and it's tainted by what they have access to. So in an indirect way, you have access to the fundamentals of the market, because the market is 90% psychology, right? We trade perceptions. So the way we speak about the market is the price. In a sense, you can read a lot about it, and that's what I do. I speak to people in the marketplace, and ignorance encircles value. So you can actually locate value kind of if you reverse engineer people's ignorance. So that's a different aspect of fundamentals that I look at. I look at the fundamentals of the humans that make up the price. And in that way, I actually have access to the fundamentals of price, not the fundamentals of the company so much say as the fundamentals of your belief, which underlies the wave structure of price. It's a different approach. You don't let it override the technical structure of price. You'd like to see that if your perception of what forward reality will be for everyone else is accurate and the technical structure makes sense, then that's the best of all worlds. Otherwise, you have to make sure that you're figuring it out. The market's never wrong. If it does anything beyond what you think, you've missed something. So that's a memo. Do you think the bank sector is worth touching? Damn. Thanks for the subs, PGLS. You guys should thank that dude. Oh, where's the thingy? Do I think the bank sector is worth touching? I mean, charts have been total shit. And I talk to people about that. Like, a lot of people like to go bottom fishing and avoid, following the strength. Strong stocks are strong for a reason, and shit stocks are, jelly shit for a reason. There can come a point that there is a relative value play to be had. But at the current moment, if you look at the market, we talked about social and anti-social stocks. Let me move over to the chart screen. So this is our cover shot. This is Microsoft. Still watching him, right, at all-time highs. He's in this flag we talked in the last show. He's trying to get himself out. Bank stocks, he said. So, let's look at the financial sector as a whole. It looks like ass. And you've got stuff like Amazon and Etsy and Shop that we talked about in antisocial going fucking crazy. In this world, not right now, just worth touching. Like, there's stuff you could go for. Remember, a lot of people want to be the hero. And as much as we in this show, try to be super timely in locating, points in the VIX and things like that, this is never really your goal, to just say you got this. I think people think like you have to say you in hindsight look back and say, oh, where'd you buy? I bought here, so I'm a genius. That's not really your goal, When you look at stuff like, say, Shop that we talked about in the show a bunch of times, why would you dodge playing that? The easiest money everyone ever sees, when you look back at 20 years in markets, is going to be the internet bubble or the crypto bubble. You make money the easiest in bull markets, right? A dummy will make money in bull markets. If the statistics are in your favor, why would you ever avoid them? Why bottom fish for the turn in a market when the trend is so much more, right? So for any of you that are newer to the show, think about it, right? The bottom is made of what? 1, 2, 3 possible candles to locate. You can catch one of these great spots. But what would you ignore in a strong trend? From the point at which you could even establish that this is a trend. 60 bars to figure your way out into that thing, and the time frames below that. you have a lot of opportunities that will present themselves. Play the strength. There's a reason stuff is strong. You know, there's money behind it. You want to be involved in that. It's not everything to bottom fish. You know, when finances look better, they'll look better, and it's going to be a minute before they do. I wouldn't tell you to a market to go chase. Damn, Patch, killer week. That's what's up. Respect, homie. 10 stacks from the Patch Master. Holy shit. Mad subs. Y'all watch this. I don't know, hype train stuff's going on. I don't know what that means. Respect, Cryptolarius. Quantify news. I don't know that you quantify news. I think, you know, I understand with the emotional structure of price, well enough to know like what the news generates in people. You know, one of the quotes I put out there was, you know, we don't trade the news, we trade what the news does to people's perception of information in the market. And that's what you're trading. You're trading, you know, all that's on the graph is behavior. It's, you know, arbitrage of perception from those that have access to information to those that don't. And the graph structure is you know fractal in nature. It's the same thing occurring to people in all levels. So I guess you want to know the dispersion of the news, how widely you know viewed it is, and how impactful and fear generating it can be. It's at 95%, so I don't know what makes the hype train go up, but it's like that's what it's doing. So I have no idea. Oh my God, Peter R. Respect, homie. No worries, man. I hope you're killing it in church there. So I know you guys said you had a pretty good week. Let's make sure we don't run into a fucking correction or anything crazy, and see what else we see out there. Respect, Mr. Mojo. So Shopify. Let's look at some what's going on in the marketplace. So looking at strength, and I was talking about like financials. Look at visas. Okay, this thing did like it went from hype train to something else. I have no idea. Oh, you guys are running this hype train crazy. What up, Munir? Respect, homie. Um, so let's see. So Visa, these guys, you know, are hurting from the fact that like transactions are just slowing down in the economy. Even though they're diluting the economy, right? These guys, their market capitalization is basically a function of velocity of capital through the company, and their money is made transactionally. You see stuff like you know Square being fucking like completely crazy. You know, the market is rotating from like old economy to new economy to function in like the new normal. And that's why like you know certain stuff like you know brick and mortar retailers are struggling while you know crazy online guys like these look like fucking raging bull markets and coronavirus never happened. And again, right, like, you know, you play strength. This shit is a little stretched out, but ideally that's what you go for. You know, bottom fishing is not a good idea. When these things that are in the trenches turn, you'll have a chance to play it and you'll know it. And you'll be able to be in front of that. Like there's never a reason to chase like the trenches if you can play into moving markets that you see that are just going completely apeshit like that. So these guys are stuck out and pretty scary. Should check out the VIX and see where that motherfucker is. Respect on the crazy amount of fucking bits you guys have done. Jesus, I gotta come up with something amazing here in fucking 30 minutes. Yep, PayPal too. PayPal, like every one of these kids that are fucking playing Fortnite and shit are all playing fucking through PayPal. That's the absolute truth. PayPal is also going just fucking ape shit. So, you know, everybody's trying to figure out why retail traders shouldn't be in this. I've seen a lot of articles. I posted one to the Facebook group about retail trader that went from like 15K to a million back to 6Gs, and you know they highlight these like anomalous stories, like not it's absolutely not typical things that happen to people, and use that as a reason that you guys don't know what you're doing. And you have like fund managers getting stomped out of existence in the pandemic, and it's just funny like in an up or down situation, like normal people, huge funds, like get Swiss cheese and shit like that, and they kind of try to make sure they posterize the the little guy getting fucking crushed, and psychologically it does impact people who are trying to figure out if the market's something they could look at as a viable option. And they make it sound like a casino, and they make retail traders sound like they're completely incapable. At the end of the day, Warren Buffett is the counterparty to an assload of fucking retail traders who fucking made a fool of him for dumping his airlines where he did, and catching a hell of a bounce on it, before they stalled. Let's look at our VIX chart real quick. So this is VIX Mageddon, still updating it. So this is our shockwave we've got coming from the 80s, and he's wicked it. Kind of like what we see in BTC, right? He's wicked the fucking shockwave. He's come back down to levels that we really want to see him through. We have this 37 by 44 zone that I'd added and talked about in past show, and that we had to come out of to see Corona not completely explode out of control, like death surge and crazy things. And it's interesting, right? Corona, as infections go, is going fucking sky high, but the mortality rate is much, much lower as it's infecting a healthier part of the population. So one of the things about the VIX, a lot of people think, well, with more infections, shouldn't the fear spike a lot more? The fact is, it's just a known thing. It's not a surprise that's coming now. What up, Big O? Respect, homie. But it is a known thing for all of us now, right? We're at the societal point of frustration with like trying to even get people to wear masks and give a fuck anymore, and you just seem like you're pushing in the herd immunity direction. So it's kind of like a known. Whether we see the mortality rate go fucking apeshit in the flu season is yet to be known. But if it's going to, it likely would be led in the VIX if it was going to happen. And that being that the people with access to information greater than you would start to push this thing as a hedge to large assets in the S&P. Remember, the VIX has an inverse relationship with the S&P, and instead of being able to unwind billions of dollars of money overnight, which would collapse the market, it's easier to hedge in the VIX to offset your fucking market position and go as close to delta neutral as possible with this thing, or if not outright short the market through the VIX. So the VIX, it really represents the S&P's hedging in the marketplace and fear. So it's a phenomenal fucking gauge of what's going on in risk assets. So as you can see right here too, one thing I wanted to show you, when you look at it, right, the VIX is still pretty high. It's been declining from such a high spike, and that was the same thing in the banking crisis. The time it took to come in from the spike in the banking crisis, you almost didn't realize it was still in a place that the market could fuck you up. And the VIX is still well above 21. It can do crazy shit. You really look at it, he's not escaped the range of where the spike comes from. And when he does get through 21 and sustains it, he'll blow out of the entire spike location that you see in the VIX. You want to see him like completely gone before you actually think the market's back to normal. He's still not. He can still do overnight crazy shit to you. A lot of people are trying to hold short-term positions from like 5-minute time frames and shit overnight. You're gonna get fucked up in gaps a lot. Even if the trend structure is there, it'll be there in higher resolutions. It's going to be much harder to hold things from like low resolutions through multiple sessions. News flows and gaps are going to keep being crazy until this thing gets through 21. So keep this in mind where you are, and don't lose perspective that it's still in a place that it can fuck you up. 30 is high on the VIX. It's not a place you ever want to see him, right? He's sustaining a very high level for a while. In general, he's back through here and under that pretty quickly after any cataclysmic spikes. So thought we should go over that and look at where he is in perspective. But all things considered, the Armageddon level has been sustained, and we're back to another critical swing level at 37 by 44. So that's pretty good for the VIX right now for us, all things considered. But you're still waiting for about 9 points drop in this thing before you feel like you're in a safe place. All right, that's a VIX update. Not that one. So where are we at? 838. I'll show you something about Funnymentals. Where'd it go? Thought I had it on the side here. You guys follow this play. I know a lot of you hit Zynga. This is a gaming fundamental, right? From my perspective, these are the fundamentals that mattered. And ultimately, coronavirus made a lot of what's in that green box irrelevant by just trapping people in their homes and forcing people into video game land. So as much as you can analyze what you see going on in the marketplace, what the the landscape looks like, the technical structure captures everything, even the things that I don't within this box. This box turns out to really not have as much to do with the things I said with Disney or anything's partnership as it does to COVID changing the landscape for everybody from 15-year-old through 40-year-old age bracket. So price first. You can believe whatever the fuck you want to believe. Ultimately, the price is gonna be right. And as much as this chart worked out, this fundamental picture I painted was completely irrelevant to what unfolded technically. So be willing to admit that too, right? I think esports and some of these things are part of it, but the landscape shifted for COVID, and this breakout is technically sound with respect to COVID and the landscape shifting to gaming. So that's one thing I wanted to tell you. When you look back historically at prices, right, price makes fucking sense. You go back here, you don't even know what the news flow is in 2015 or 16 or 17, but you can understand an uptrend when you see it. When you get in the present moment, you start to get caught up in your own bullshit, like the shit I wrote over here. If this was much different, I could mindfuck myself out of this idea entirely. And this structure price contains all this shit I think I know and all this shit that I actually don't know. And as long as you get out of your own bullshit, don't let your ego dominate you in understanding how to look at markets and be objective and just know this shit you don't know. Price first. Price and volume contain all the shit you don't know from all the people who know it before you know it. So that's a memo. And congrats on everybody that I got hit by this, that they hit Zynga. Good shit. Alright. Alright, let me see. Did you guys ask any other questions? What do you think of Chegg? I think Chegg and all his unlearning school guys are fucking in play. I think, Trump is forcing school reopening, so that's definitely something to be seen. I think there's definitely a place for him now, and there's definitely a shift for a lot of parents who probably want to figure out a way around possibly putting their kids back in the middle of a pandemic. I think that move that you're seeing, that Trump is forcing that and threatening funding for schools to be reopened no matter what, with surging numbers, tells you, like what we said in the Black Order, they were going to go ahead and go with herd immunity and just fuck it. There is no real cure coming or any of that bullshit. They can't cure the fucking common cold. There's no fucking vaccine or shit coming that they can widely distribute to fucking billions of people safely. That's bullshit. What up, on gas? Thanks for turning out them subs, homie. Yeah, that's not likely. Right now, the market, running like it is while you're seeing the numbers surge, is the kind of reality that it's just part of life, and we're gonna push through, and whoever's gonna get fucking killed by it's gonna get killed by it, and whatever portion of humans make it out. Well, the reality is, right, it's mortality rate. It's like under 1%. I mean, it's under 1%. So 99% of people are surviving it, and when you zoom out of the population, a whole lot of people you may know or know through 1 to 2 degrees of separation are going to pass away from it, and that's the Spanish flu. It killed a lot of fucking people, and the human population from that expanded. You have to treat it like a herd, and when they hear say herd immunity, they're talking to you, but like you're fucking cattle. You should take it seriously. Yeah, you guys know you can watch the show free live. If you want to rewatch it and shit, though, before Twitch auto deletes it, it doesn't keep your stuff. That's dumb. It deletes in 14 days. So if you want to rewatch it and see anything out of it specifically, that's all you need to use this up for. What up, Ujo? Thanks, Blocks. Good lord, you guys put out a lot of subs. They're telling you guys watch this shit. Alright, so let's get some charting done before we fucking run out of time to do stuff. Thought I'd look at currencies real quick in the morning because we kind of neglect that a lot. And right now, this is where the dollar is against the euro. Worth watching against everything, actually. A leave on this thing is going to be important. If the dollar maintains any kind of strength in the marketplace and comes back against the euro. If this stalls out, and what do you have right now with the euro right here, really? DXY had stalled out in his run, and the market went back kind of into a zone he's been in for the last half decade. if he doesn't beat his high though, all right, and this market corrects back downwards, that would put pressure on stocks. So currencies really shouldn't be left out of your analysis. I know a lot of people overlook and think it's something else, but all of you buy stocks in terms of your currency, so it absolutely can't be left out. There's a DXY now. So needs to see what he's doing. You know, technically DXY has a bit of a bull flag here with a climax low. In this first test, if he's going to go back up, it's going to come from some shit like that. It's going to fool people that he's broken down, hold the base of this actual incline, and then turn up one more time and go back for another move. That would be a push for a strong dollar, but let it break out of that first. Let's see, guys like AUD, what do you look like? What was that? See, my keyboard's going crazy. So the dollar's at worthwhile noting levels. Definitely at a place that he can stall out and against this decline he's had to turn around. So that DXY, like, you know, is something worth keeping an eye on. When he moves heavy against world assets, it'll be kind of it'll create a cross current in risk assets. So yeah, if that level stalls in the dollar, it's in a good place for it too, right? Move that into a little closer, tighten. So I got turned into a bear flag. Excuse me. And rolls off something like this over here. You'll see him roll first. You have to chase that thing. He goes through it, so be it, right? He has to get up on top of this thing and do something up here to go off there. But if this guy heads down, then that likely confirms what we see in the DXY. And DXY would pump out of this guy. So you kind of watch some of these guys. They're right now setting up, just taking some time, and they're kind of off the radar because they're consolidating. And I think that's one of the reasons, you know, once price is consolidating, the time correction is meant to make you kind of get bored, and they're not doing shit, so you're kind of waiting to see what happens. So a couple of you guys are in place is definitely worth noting. If this guy, you know, is obviously way off of what the AUD's done, he's recovered the best. He's your better risk on currency. NZD/USD also carries a larger interest rate and tends to track just regionally with the Australian dollar. So he's been much strong. He's been even stronger in this bounce back. But also in a place worth paying attention to. The Aussies probably technically got a more interesting level to watch than this dude, but they'll roll as a basket if this guy comes down. See what USD CAD is, what he looks like. Nothing wonderful to look at in that guy particularly. But yeah, I threw some currencies in there because they're consolidating for a hot minute, and that's usually the time people's eyes are off them. So just to put him back on the radar. Another one I like to watch is this dude. Let's see where he is this morning. He kind of tracks like the VIX. If you notice, he bled off just like the volatility of the VIX. Either one of these guys bouncing is bad for us. Bad for us in terms of risk assets, that is. So, pretty simple. If that doesn't keep on collapsing and fading, if he actually pumps out of that, that would be likely a bounce in the VIX also. And the VIX is still in the 30s, remember, so he's at 30 right now. So you do want to see this continue to fade on lower time frames. Remember, a bull flag is made of bear flags, and a bear flag is made of bull flags. So this guy is falling. Your bull flag is made of bear flags. He needs to keep doing that in order for the VIX to keep depressing itself. Unfortunately, if you look where he is, he's in a place that he's got enough congestion to probably not pass through it the easiest. So the dollar and Euro Aussie, these dudes all warrant like close attention in the structures that are in. They're all consolidating for a while, and low volatility begets higher volatility. We know that. What is going on here? I have all kinds of sound effects and I don't see anything. What's happening here? Oh, what up, server leader? Respect, dude. Alright, let's see. I don't have an opinion on the Taiwan dollar so much right now, Rogue 23, so I can't offer anything on that. Uh, if I'm unprepared, I won't give you a bullshit answer. I don't have an opinion on that just now. Yeah, register. You notice that, right? So the Fed has had like one of the biggest declines in their balance sheet, like in fucking like a decade, and no one says a word about that. While the market's breaking high, they've actually shut down the repo operation and dropped the balance sheet, through 7 trillion, and no one's noticed that they've been actually able to fucking like regain some of their ammunition back out of the marketplace, while the market's natural markets is sustaining it. Um, I think somebody asked the question last time. Do you think the QEs, when the QE stops, the market's going to stop being propped up? You have to understand, like, their market operations are part of the system, right? There isn't like this natural market that functions, and then the Fed manipulates. The Fed is the backstop of the whole system. That they are the engine to all of what makes it work. They are the market. They are what allows this entire thing to not crash. That's what they've done, is put a mechanism in place to not allow what could happen in the past. That's why you've got a sustained market pump for 100 years. Yeah, the swings are more volatile because the system is leveraged, but ultimately the things that society's been able to achieve because the central bank is there have been heavily, heavily discounted. All right, let's see. What did you say? The CHF, I mentioned that before. The CHF is heavily pinned, manipulated by the central bank. So the central bank, when this guy manages to break loose out of their tighter controls into really massive market moves, generally bad things are happening. Um, in this world, the dollar is fading some more, so we're talking about possible dollar strength. I think we drew this zone on a really big time frame. Let me look. It's a box range he's in. All right, this currency is pretty damn stable. If you look at him from like all the way back to 2011, he's in pretty much the same area. It's nothing like any of the rest of them. I mean, you look at other things in the European Union. These are obviously not comparable to Czech Republic, but just to give you an idea. You know, the dollar's been far stronger against a great many of our currencies. The Swiss franc is heavily, heavily manipulated into holding like a very narrow range against the dollar. Whenever they lose control of this shit, like very bad things occur. To see the dollar pump on this would be something though, since he's been pretty much a steady decline against the Swiss franc from the internet bubble effectively. This is the internet bubble happens right here, March. Is the top of Cisco, and the dollar has literally been in free fall against that thing ever since. But this is a hell of a box range. At some point, this thing will leave this range, and when that happens, you should be aware of it. You should definitely pay attention when that happens. If the dollar goes at the bottom or the top of this thing. Let's see. Everything looks like it's consolidating. What up, Interdon? Respect, homie. Thanks for 1,000. Philadelphia, you guys must have had a rock star week. Respect, homie, on the 5 stacks. Jesus. What do you think will happen in 2024 for people on Earth? You need big depression. I think that the cycle we're looking at, the 25-year leg, that's a fractal of 1974 through 1999. If it runs something like that for space cash to be the back end out of the pandemic, you're gonna see this entire market have its major correction from this scale of a cycle somewhere out there in the mid 2030s. So, what I think happens out there, likely correction to possibly the human population. It goes underway, and a real changing of the tides. At that point, I think if China has not, been annihilated by the West, they stand a good chance to be a shift of control on the planet, while the West works on getting themselves off the planet. That's kind of my theory with space cash. What up, Foles Gold? Thank you, sir. Did you take a look at oil today? Yeah, let's take a look at oil. We'll do that. So energy stocks have been getting fucking absolutely destroyed. They had a good run before. This chart's gonna be fucking wrecked from that wick. Totally. So I drawn this zone in a little bit off of where I thought after this whole thing blew up down here. Thought where he could be. He would probably chop in this range. He got a little bit through what I expected. Kind of capped him by the highs back here in 2000. So let's reassess some things and see what he's doing. That fucking candle just absolutely fucking sticks a fork in like any higher resolution shit. Took a good 4 hour. Pretty simple right now if he's gonna regain any traction. Watching him above just where he is now and getting out of here in general, both are just getting back turned around. He's not technically looked very bad from where he's bouncing all the way from April. These levels hold for now. He doesn't look bad technically, still in an uptrend, right? So he's just narrowing. He consolidates. I'd pay attention to him, see if he gains some strength. Let's move this over here. Turn on. Confounded Jackson, what is it doing? There it is. So he's like flat this morning. But yeah, I'd watch him. He's consolidating for a minute. He's topped out from mid-June. Not really doing shit. Right now, the commodity to watch has been gold. Making better moves right now. Still trending out. And slightly off the radar, right, is silver. Been watching this guy. Structure looks pretty decent, and I'm thinking a lot of people are paying attention to this dude. We talked about him in the past, back here, that we'd annotated him. That he'd broken out of that in a past show. So I think a lot of people are watching that right now. With silver, if he can clear the highs that he's got, is been a pretty big lag on what gold is doing. Again, though, where he is kind of similar to possible resistance that you see in the Aussie USD. If the USD is going to gain any strength, he'll turn this over, he'll turn gold over too. But just keep an eye on things, in both markets. The Aussie dollar starts to roll over, dollar is gaining strength, he'll probably start to take this guy out just the same. But for now, I think this is an under paid attention to metal. He's been stagnant for so long, just doing nothing. But like we said, he had a good breakout down here. If you guys pay attention to when we did this drawing back here, we showed you the bull flag on this guy. In the words of Eli, the ecosystem go ver. Yeah, it's been a badass week for everybody in all rooms. So really cool. Even people on Instagram would send me crazy DMs of like this smashing things, better TA, better analysis. In this, decided to take a look at some metals and currencies because the stocks are so in focus. It's usually a time when people start paying attention to other markets that it's time to pay attention to. So things like this are happening again. This guy is leaving a pretty big level. Metals look good and they're off the radar, so worth paying attention to, I think. Again, CL, which is the original question, oil. If you keep seeing a push there, good chance that you see this guy regain some strength. Paying attention to how he goes through the rest of the summer. But I think you're watching for him to get above like 41.60 and then you give a shit. He'll have room to move again. Looks like the world is trying to figure out how fucked it is with the second wave. The bull market mentality is met with predictability in the realm. Damage control equals consolidation. That's a median. I have no idea what that last part says, but it sounded good. Strong USD showing itself in TLT. TLT is just, showing strength because it's a safe haven. Just bonds are a safe place to be. As there's increasing risk and you're still seeing a VIX that's north of fucking 30, you're going to see people need to start putting money in places or diversifying away from risk. You have stocks flying out of control. So you have a lot of people that are looking for places to diversify out of it. You can have TLT pump with stocks. That's not out of the realm of possibility. There's definitely different, asset allocations going on inside the marketplace to try and keep people safe. He's not something you generally want to see pumping if you want to see the market full blown risk on, though. I'll tell you that much. Many safe havens out there. The dollar is one of them. TLT pumping, in terms of the dollar, is just telling you that there's a rotation just in risk off hedges to the market. But I think looking at this guy right now, he's pushed out. The VIX normally follows that. You don't want to see that happen. So if he pushes, normally the VIX starts to get pressure to the upside, and that's not something you want to see. I think overall the VIX doesn't look like as terrible as it could for trading at fucking 30. He does falls out of this bear flag, which you watch right here, right? He actually stands a good chance of fucking sending another wave of risk on push into the marketplace. But for the time being, he is stalled the fuck out. So, and markets had a great push insides of it, but as a whole, it's kind of like, it's very like, you have to watch the ratios. You have to watch like which sides of the market are really moving. For now, the S&P doesn't look terrible. Let's see that. Where'd it go? If he pushes back out of that, it's game on again. So sit on your hands as far as like the broader picture is concerned. There's definitely sides of the market that are moving. Like I said, energy is extremely weak. Specialty retail is pumping, but the broader market itself is just taking a breather. And so we're in this from what? Pulling back from July 6th right now, reflecting the bull flag. This guy could pump to the high side of it and really not do much. I'll wait to see how we move into the weekend, but this is kind of what you're watching right now. It's not the worst setup in the world. So still a bullish picture. Counter wave is big enough to take it out of the main tide, but ultimately it's still got a rising higher floor. If this guy breaks high again, this becomes your next higher floor, right? So you wait for the question, does this get proven to be the next higher floor like these guys? So broader look at the market right now. Good look at the dollar where it's at. Look at gold. Look at gold at this resolution. And we had that level mark 1798 from before. Gold moving right now while the S&P is stable kind of makes sense. So that's not a bad thing. They're just kind of moving higher out of sync with each other, but overall everything is repricing in terms of the dollar. So they don't need to mark anything on that res. Logarithmic look at the S&P, it looks like a little pullback over a 100-year scale. Yeah, we've looked at that before. It's totally like, it's a scale problem. Once you look at things linearly, it looks like the biggest thing you've ever seen, but logarithmically, you'll notice it's total bullshit. It's gold right now. If he sustains over 1798, he looks good for any other higher structures. He's like, he's chilling right now also too, in the near term. Oops. Oh my god, I did that bad twice. There you go. Both the S&P and gold, are in different levels of wait and see, but both technically look sound still to the upside. As much as people want to doubt it, and that doubt's important to see this thing keep going. What do you call it? Semiconductor, he told you to keep an eye on. You guys call my Easter egg on Instagram. You paid attention to that. This week, Jackson. I told you watching him get out of his bull flag would be pretty huge to pay attention to. So Why am I in this time frame? Remember? So that's what we're waiting for, right? She would leave out of that structure. Technically, the S&P is lagging in a version of this, and the market's again rotating. Strength is tilting across into tech in different places now. Semis had been dead money for a minute as they shockwaved out. So we were waiting to see if this left, and it looked pretty good. So hope you guys found some plays. I saw some people hit a couple plays inside the semi world, so good shit. So that technically looks sound. That's out. The market is not strong everywhere. You've got to be a little bit selective right now. And specialty retail and online guys had their day. Semis underneath it all, should probably play catch up. So see if this gets stronger than it is. It's not the strongest move out, to be honest, but technically it's still sound. Let's see. How do you set targets at all-time highs? Trade secrets, son. Don't worry about setting targets. Then you place a fucking a limit to how far the trend can go, and it's effectively trying to call the top. A better thing to do is manage risk along the trend structure. I want to pull that logarithmic thing that somebody said. Oof, it's 9:05. I'm out of time. Turn to a pumpkin. Something to think about, When I told you, when you look back at prices, if you didn't even know this is the S&P 500, your technicals would make sense, right? This is not a hard chart for anybody at this resolution TA. You can see your trends, and you can see your shock waves, you can see your trends. And this contains, fantastic news. It contains a nuclear attack. It contains the death of a president. It contains, all kinds of crazy crises. And when you look back at it, you don't think about any of it as you start to outline where there's resistance and where there's breakouts and where there's wave structure. Believe this, in another 30 years, everything that's on the chart in this location is going to make the same kind of sense that the shit back here does to us now. We don't give a fuck that this was, what news it was. We don't care about any of what's going on here, that this is the loss of a president, that there's an assassination of another one over here. None of that's important. What Black Monday really was. Do any of you even care? None of you were even alive when this shit happened, but many of you that watch this show. In this location, as crazy as things appear to be, why do I have a million horizontal yellow lines like that? The fuck? Let me turn it off for a second. It's going to make sense later. You may not have all of the fundamentals in place to say why it's doing what it is right now, but just understand back here where you have no news flow, price makes a phenomenal amount of sense when you let price stand on its own 2 feet. That's the same thing you're dealing with here. This is a blip on the fucking radar in the scheme of things. And just think about some of the news I told you is contained in this shit, right? There's a fucking nuclear bomb back here. Can you imagine if something like that blew up today? Wouldn't you freak out it's the end of the world? What the fuck do you think they thought back when they have fucking radio and shit? So, don't get caught up in your phenomenal analysis skills to value the one news story you saw that was important to you as end all be all to why this trend structure has got to fail this one fucking time you happen to be alive to look at it when it didn't fail all the other times people predicted Armageddon for as long as this chart's been here. Price first, right? That's a blip. Can it stall here? Yeah. He needs to clear the high. He clears the high, he has room to fucking run, right? This is Black Monday. He gets through that high, he may chop a little bit, but if he breaks free, we have something like this, in front of us. And believe me, when this broke out, people weren't feeling like stocks had to keep going. The sentiment coming out of World War II was fucking dire. And that psychological damage of what they went through in that lasted a long time. And that's what markets are built on, right? They pump on people's fears and doubts. When everybody fucking thinks they know it, they stop. Right now, everybody's fucking terrified. The world's got a pandemic. Commerce is slowing down. How could this be? Again, people don't understand the pricing of these assets in terms of paper, and the Fed ultimately controls that. There's more paper than ever in the system. These assets likely fucking price higher, and people continue to doubt it as it goes. TA wise, it looks good. Looked like Trump destroyed the West. Both things seem true. Had your best day of 2020 on that semis call. Respect sauce. Good shit. Should have hit AMD. Shaking my head. No, next one. I'm out of time right now, so I'm just getting to your last questions and stuff. What up, Jester? Yeah, man. Good shit, Sauce. Proud of you, man. Logarithmic makes pullbacks show up to play longs. I mean, really, logarithmic shows you that the Fed is managing the economy of the United States incredibly well. This is why Buffett is always so, like, optimistic constantly. To bet against this fucking thing, and if you actually have full context of this, look at this. You really want to fucking pick where the end of that's at. Be intelligent. Don't fight. Don't do the idiot move, right? Armageddon's you're gonna be right once. Do you really want to bet against what you're staring at right there? No fucking way. Cheesy dub, respect, homie. Yeah, I'm gonna probably wrap there because we're pretty close to market open. So yeah, right now TLT does look good. So it's to pay attention to the dollar, like we said. Let me get off this stupid logarithmic thing. Semis was a good play. Yeah, it may not be over yet. A lot of stuff is stuck out. Be cautious. I know the FOMO is real. People who've missed out are feeling like fucking fuck me. These things, are sticks. Tesla and these guys are sticks. But in these steep arcs, right, big money's made in these things. You don't want to call the end to this. Oops, where's this guy at? When you look at like this huge arc right here. Where that shit just moved? That was crazy. That guy, if you look at that, I keep this in perspective to what's going on right at the top of that flag. I'm showing this to, like, your mind will play tricks on you as the price scales forward. So, like, technically when this arc is happening, that looks ridiculous, right? Nobody and their mom, in hindsight, from this point, would look backwards and say, this looks like a great fucking idea. That's the trick that your mind will play on you. If you use hindsight T and you look backwards at price, that doesn't look like a great opportunity. But today's high can be tomorrow's low when you look forward and look at price unfolding forward in time and stop worrying about what you missed. This will mindfuck you and stop your ability to play just directionality. That's how bull markets extend so far and people like fail to participate because they have to have what it used to be. That's not the way you want to fucking think if you want to be able to actually free your mind to participate in what it could be, Thanos knows best with that. So that arc, this would blow you out of participating in fucking an incredible move because you can't see forward what can be. So I say that now looking at this arc that looks totally ridiculous. Can it go higher? It can do whatever the fuck it wants. Right now, everyone and their mother wishes they had Tesla cheaper. So when you look at things like this right now, all-time highs, you're like, there's no fucking way. Like, don't bet against it. If it goes, have a risk-adjusted strategy and be willing to participate and let it do whatever the fuck it's gonna do. That's what's stopping a lot of people from participating in shit like this. Is that there's no fucking way. Yeah, this looks ridiculous. Right, we drew this out? Yes, I know. I agree with you. And I still buy it. It looks totally fucking crazy. So what? That's what bull markets look like. Fucking crazy. Let them be crazy. Right? If Tesla blows out, let it do what it's going to do. Be willing to participate and know where you're wrong at if you're going to decide to play that shit. Semis right now, do they play catch up on this? They could, right? So we see how much further it gets. But there's where, don't bottom fish shit like this. But look at what you see right there. Look what can unfold forward. Financials, not the place to really bottom fish now. Can it pop? Can you have something like this? Yeah, sure. But go where the odds are in your favor, Hate Tesla is basically fucking like the fundamentals of that guy is like 98% fucking hate fuel pump. But yeah, Elon's getting the last laugh on that shit. Shit's hilarious. So we are at time for me. It's 9:15. So you boys and girls get ready for the show. It's 15 minutes till market open. Hope this morning prep helps point you in the right direction and that you guys are benefiting from it. Thanks to everybody who threw fucking ridiculous bits and subs to everybody else. For the people that are just watching live, if you want to review stuff, that's the way the Twitch is set up. So if you watch live, you see everything that we do. If you want to review it, costs you $5. Best analysis in the world. So appreciate everybody coming out. Hope you guys learned a lot. Stay on the right side of the market. Pay attention to that dollar. Don't take them off your radar. It's important once he gets going. May not be ready just yet, but pay attention to it. Until next time, catch y'all.
Welcome to Winternomics TV. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready, bitches. Winternomics. Welcome. Winter, 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 Winternomics. Winter, winter, winter. Welcome. Winter, winter, Winternomics. Welcome to